So a lot of you know, and some of you don't, I'm an analyst, right? Well, a senior business analyst for where I work, but I'm an analyst. So all I do is kind of think about trends and data in my life. And I was on the phone with my friend and I realized, I was like, I love my people. I love just all the magic that we have, superpowers, if you will, just seeing how we navigate, how we make things look good when, and I'm talking about Black people, okay? Every time I see a Black person on my TV, every time I see, anything complimentary towards us, it just warms my heart. And, I just get overwhelmed with our beauty. But if you told me that 20 years ago that I would look back and feel this level of awe about my people or anybody else, I would have looked at you like you were crazy, because I was at a complete war with myself. So to give you some context, I didn't like myself for a long time. And the saying goes, you project onto people your insecurities. And it's just like, there were so many things about myself that I did not like. My hair, the way I smelled, the way I looked, and the environment that I grew up in, for the most part was very, supportive. My grandmother always told me how pretty I was, but I had a weight problem. And my grandmother and my mother, they dressed me like a girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, covered up, conservative, that's good. But they didn't do anything wrong. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm giving you my perception. I thought that I was to cover everything up and not show anything, because over time, as a child, as a teenager, you think I'm hideous. I'm bigger than everybody else. I have a weight problem. Oh, let me cover myself up. Let me not show. I don't want to take up too much space. It just really, really has been an ongoing issue with me for a long time, until I'd say maybe about a year ago, 2 years ago. And I think this is quite funny because now I'm 42. So that's about right. And, I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to hate on somebody, but if you were to say something about me, I'm definitely going to point out something I see in you that I know that I possess, because it's an insecurity that I hide, and I'm going to expose you for it first so nobody else can notice that on me, right? But now it's like, it's hard for me to find something about my people that I don't love, because I love myself so much. And it's not me being a narcissist. It's not me being, self-centered, or, oh, I'm all that in a bag of chips, or I'm cute, I got good hair, no, it's none of that. It's just, I didn't like me for the longest time. And I, to this day, couldn't tell you why. I just felt like the only explanation that I had for it was I was always covered up, or I was always told, like, you too loud, you too this, you too that, you're too outgoing, you're too happy, you're too happy-go-lucky. Everything about you needs to stop. And I think, and it wasn't my family's fault. I was probably being loud and obnoxious, but that is just naturally who I am. Anybody that knows me, they know I'm crazy. I'm not crazy, but I'm crazy. I'm a little certified. I love to joke with people. I always ask myself every so often, when am I going to grow up? Now, do I take things seriously? Absolutely. I pay my bills. My dog is well fed. I keep gas in my car together and everything else. I take things seriously, but being in a sunken place, in a dark place for so long, I don't have it in my heart to be just hateful and spiteful, not even towards myself, because in here, that negative self-talk was something else. And that's another reason why I couldn't see the beauty in nobody else, because I couldn't find it in myself. And I know this story has been told so many times, but I've never really, I love hearing the stories of people that actually express themselves and tell, how they came out of it. And honestly, I think because my family would always tell me, and again, this is not me pointing blame. My family was great. They were supportive. They were cool. I love my family. But I think the fact that everything I did was, Ashley, stop. Ashley, stop. You got to stop this. You got to stop that. I was ashamed of myself. You know, my family, they was, I'm not going to sit up and say we was wealthy, but, you know, I never missed a meal. And I got an extra Big Mac every now and again. You know, I had a car at 17. You know, my grandparents bought for me. Yeah, like, I traveled. I got to go to Florida and stuff like that. We weren't poor. You know what I mean? But we weren't, like, billionaires either. So I never grew up with a sense of entitlement or anything else, but that'll be another video. However, I still, they had a sense of, back in those days, you had to carry yourself a certain way, and you still should carry yourself in a certain manner to be respected, because people are going to, they're going to treat you how you treat yourself, and how you carry yourself is how they're going to approach you. So my family was right in that, but in my little brain, I was thinking, oh, something around me, something about me is just off. Everything about me should be concealed. I shouldn't show anything because I'm overweight. You know, I'm talkative. I sweat a lot. You know, it was just like, I was so, like, I just nitpicked myself apart based off of their correction. And it was nothing that they were doing malicious. It was just how I took it. Perception is everything. You know, and I'm so glad I got to actually talk about this with you, because a lot of times I see these videos come up on YouTube about, you know, certain men hate certain women or hate themselves. I hated myself for a long time, and I just want people to know that there is another side to this. You don't have to stay in that rut, because the moment you start loving yourself, I'm talking about, baby, I found beauty in things that I would not have normally found beauty in. Even reflecting on my drunk uncle, and my family know who I'm talking about. Even he's beautiful in his own way. And I never thought I would say that about him, because he was just mean and drunk, you know? But it's like, you can't, every time I see one of us walking down the street, or I'm walking my dog and I'm talking to somebody, we hug and we embrace each other. And I love that. And I see little girls, little black girls with their hair beads, and I just be like, okay, niece, I just want to be our biggest cheerleader. But I also wanted to share the journey of where I had to come from to get to this point. And I don't know who this is for. It may just be for me, because I love it. I love hearing myself talk. I love seeing myself on this camera. But in the comments, tell me if you struggle with your self-image, and how did you overcome that? Or did you never have an issue with confidence? Did you, you know, there are so many things that I just want to talk. I started this channel so I could talk to people. And get different perspectives and start a conversation, a healing one. I always want to be a safe space for you all, and myself included. What was your healing journey like? Put in the comments, subscribe, like, and if you like this video and content, just tell me, hey, keep making more like these, making more videos like this. I'm Ashley. This was my little story time for today. Thank you for joining in. I'll see you later. Bye.